easy, mates.
Well,
963. Podcast number 2.
Jeez, Mike, can you talk into a microphone anytime without clipping it? Crikey.
No, that's all. I like to clip things, you know. So.
Wow, that's not quite the best Australian accent now, don't you, mate? You need to get quite
I thought
into
he was
it.
doing the Jack Sparrow first, and I was like, just another reason
No,
for the eye
my
patch.
wife hates all my accents. She
Really?
thinks I'm horrible.
Well, yeah.
I probably am.
They're
But...
bloody terrible, that's what they are.
Oh, okay, Michael.
can switch
here
to
you
British
go.
now?
Get you some voiceover work going on. Be good.
I can only do British and Australian, though. You try and tell me another accent, I just
So
can't keep
Michael's
up with it.
niche is voiceover. What we do in this podcast is we kind of go over certain topics, ask questions, and elicit like serious, organic conversation. Super serious, right? But one of the things we talked about last time was, you know, what was 963 Film Group, right? And we went over like kind of how a brief basis of how we came up, and so how we were able to kind of cultivate this relationship and build it, and what was 963. If you guys have any questions about it, you guys can always check it out in the last episode. But on this one, we wanted to talk a little bit about niches and what are they and how can they bounce off each other. So, Christian, you want to start us off? Like, what is it that you like to do, and what is it that you're good at?
Let's see. I'm trying to not sound like a cheesy director here, but
You can't toot your own horn more than Kyle's about to in 5 minutes, so go ahead.
Shut up!
That's funny, dude.
I hate you both.
So
love each other here.
I like to consider myself a purist when it comes to the cinematography side of things. Over the years, I started out like everybody else, one-man band as a freelancer. You kind of have to learn it all. And again, like we said in the last one, many 3 a.m. YouTube nights, just trying to learn it all and figure out everything. And, as you go on, you find the aspects of things that you like a lot more. And for me, it was always just the video. The composition is huge for me. I love putting together compositions.
It's really good at it.
I appreciate that, dude. I love putting together compositions. It's one of those things, like I walk around and I just see frames,
Yeah.
And I walk around a city and I'm just like, oh, this would look so cool in a movie. And I'm a huge nerd, essentially. When it comes to video, I'm in love with it. I'm a huge nerd about it. So video and just putting together a scene and a composition is probably my number one thing that I'm passionate about and that I want to really lean into going forward. And it's how I feel I bring the most value. But I think that I'm pretty good in a general sense at lighting and sound as well, and some color. I've been kind of leaning a bit more into color lately just because it's fun, experimenting with new things. And but I think as well, as far as my industries, I built my kind of solo career on live events and kind of more documentary work. A lot of the freelance stuff that I do, on the side is ready rig or steady rig, however you want to call it. Yeah. Stabilized video for speakers on stage, following them around. And that has...
It's like the Terminator on the weekends.
We have so many different names for it, man. We call it the bat suit. We call it, the rig is just what I lovingly call it usually. But I've got a lot of experience, putting together recap videos as well, quick run and gun type stuff. Yeah. And I think that was kind of rocket fuel for my career. It's like, because before that, not to dive into my whole history, but I worked salaried for an event company in Murrells Inlet. And it was a super grueling kind of job. It was a lot. It was moving 100 miles per hour all the time. But that in turn made me kind of a machine when it comes to putting together, fast turnarounds, recap videos and testimonial reels, highlight reels, stuff like that, little sizzles and stuff. And I think that in an environment, especially where we can take more time, like in a brand message video or something like that, I think...
Very documentary piece.
Yeah. And the documentary work is the other side of things that I really enjoy doing. It's what brings me the most fulfillment. And I've gotten to experience that, thankfully, for several things that we've done now. But yeah, so to quick recap, video, compositions, cinematography, and then as far as industries, I excel a lot in live events and documentary type work. That's what I'm all about. So
yeah. That's cool, man. I love being able to see some of your YouTube stuff that you got going on.
Oh, YouTube as well, man. I love YouTube.
Come on, shameless plug. Come on, get it out there.
Just my name, man. Just Christian Eli. I'm a fool over there. You know, there's a lot of me acting like a child, but it's cool, man. It's a place that YouTube is where
Kyle's in our group, right?
What?
This guy's hating on you today, man.
What would you say? What was that, Michael?
He said it's just a lot of him acting like a child, and I said we have Kyle in our group.
It's messed up, bro.
Dude. But I love YouTube, man, just real fast because, you know, and obviously this is no shade on anything we do. You know, we love refining and we love getting the best product possible. But YouTube is a place where I'm in charge of the revisions. I'm in charge of the final product. And it's a full creation by me, you know, like from start to finish. I choose the color, I choose the sound, and it's kind of a playground, YouTube.
I'm sure you get to be really experimental with
It's fun, man,
so
yeah.
cool.
And, you know, I actually have a British character named Nigel on my channel. I don't know if you guys have ever seen him.
I have no, not yet.
He's the purist, dude. It's funny, like there's an episode where I talk about if the A7S III can be good for photography since it's only 12 megapixels. I have him come in and he's like, whoa, not a chance, man. It's like 12 megapixels does not cut it. And we just go back and forth, and it's funny, dude. And just stuff like that, man, it blows the steam off. And, you know, we're running around a lot and stuff, and it's fun to be able to have that creative outlet. And I would love to build that into something along with, you know, us on YouTube. YouTube is really, and I have a special place in my heart for it as well because it's where I learned everything. You know, I'm like a YouTube university graduate. Like, I went to college for graphic design, not doing anything with it, you know, personal stuff and like stuff for us, but not any real client work.
When Kyle went to school for marine science and I went to college for a year for a medical degree. So
I cut open dolphins. That's how I did. I got a question for you. How many hours and how many months would you say on average did you watch YouTube videos when you were first starting in video? Like, what was that? I've always liked to hear that because that was like the super grueling time for me. Like, that's personal to me.
I mean, it's a blur, man. I probably should have been logging my hours, but I mean, it was definitely months. Like, and I mean, to this day, I'm doing it.
Yeah.
I mean, you know, Unreal Engine, like learning that. I mean, it's starting all over. You know, I'm a toddler again. It's like I
heard a cool quote. It was something like, no one could ever pay you for the amount of time and energy and educations you learn from YouTube, especially from our field, because YouTube's video.
I mean, that's all I have. Like, people ask me, like, oh, this new TV show came out, this new movie came out, this thing, this thing happened in the world. Like, I don't watch news, I don't watch TV, I barely watch videos, movies. I don't even know they're coming out until you guys are like, oh, see this. I'm like, wait, what? My time is YouTube. I don't even own a TV. I just watch YouTube, my phone, my iPad, and that's all I do.
Awesome.
So, I did give up recently. I stopped fighting it and signed up for premium, so it's been great.
Oh, I've had YouTube Premium for 7 years.
I gave in. You know, I was like, you know what, this platform deserves my money. You know, it's given me so much. I've got to quit being Mr. Krabs and dive in.
Yeah, YouTube's another thing I need to start. I'm very bad about being a perfectionist with things.
We're starting it right now, brother.
Well, that's true. Yeah,
we're doing it right now.
We're doing this, so especially because I'm such a gear nerd. I have so much equipment that I can make videos on and talk forever about. I just need to find the time to do it. And
so, flowing into that conversation, Michael, what is your niche? What's your realm? What's your
my niche? So, I mean, as far as where I came from before, kind of branching out with more stuff with 963. I mean, I did a lot of weddings and real estate is where I started my videography journey. So I actually had my realtor's license and start with that. And that's how I got into this. Was I started how do I make some side money as I'm learning how to do this new career? And jumped into, started taking my camera, let's try to take it as side money instead of just a hobby. Started doing photos, jumped into video, and within 3 videos, I was like, I need to upgrade my camera and learn how to do this because this is awesome. Yeah. And so that's kind of what I jumped into. And then it was the point where I'm like, all right, well, this is my passion. What am I doing anything else for? This is what I want to do with my life. Yeah. Which just so happened to be right around the same time Kyle was like, hey, let's start this. I'm like, great, especially, again, we talked last episode, we come from Christian faith and everything. It was like, all right, here's your sign kind of thing. You've been thinking about this as your passion, go for it. And it's paid off.
I think Michael and I upgraded our cameras right at the same time.
Pretty much.
And we both got the same version of the same camera from 2 different brands, and we fight about it all the time.
Oh,
It's
yeah.
great.
And you can't tell already by the banter back and forth. Me and Kyle are like,
That camera looks really good right there. That one looks really good right there. That Christian's on. Those 2 suck. That just looks like trash. I'm just kidding.
yeah. Hey, it's okay.
I'm just messing with you.
But so that's where I started was real estate videography and then doing some wedding stuff. And so funny how those are both so opposites too. Like real estate is so much like the house is what it is. Besides like some lighting in the exterior, like you do the shot as many times as you needed to get like it perfect. And I think mentally I kind of prefer that. Same with like these brand messages or these promos we like plan out. Like I loved having those more produced shots where it's like, okay, again, because I'm like a perfectionist when it comes to this stuff, I can do it as many times as it takes. I can sit there in the edit and make sure I get the perfect shots down. Weddings was kind of like the opposite though, so it kind of brought me out of that comfort zone. It was a little bit like, well, this is happening with or without you, so you just better get what you can get and hope it's good. So learning that kind of gave me that skill of like learning to react to what's going on and learning like when to capture what angles and pretty much be rolling more than you're not.
Yeah.
And trying to pay more attention to like what's going on. So that's where I came from, but I mean, like I just said, as we're doing more of this brand message stuff, as we're doing more of these promos, I think that's what I really like best. Even some of the documentary side, as long as it's planned out more. I mean, I've learned that there's a very huge difference in documentary filmmaking from we have no idea what's going to happen, just film, and then, okay, there's at least some sort of plan.
That's a good point. Yeah, real estate and weddings, or I guess weddings are a bit more spontaneous, but real estate is so planned. Like, it's so, organized.
And not even that as far as, I'm talking about, like, more some of these shows that we're doing for, Visit Myrtle Beach. We're doing some seafood shows. I'm doing a show that basically they wanted to, like, take Food Network inspiration and do that, finding our flavors, what it's called. So, definitely learn that there's a difference in documentary filmmaking as far, and I think it needs to have some kind of plan. Having absolutely no idea what's going on is too stressful for me. But having at least and weddings are kind of like this, where you actually have some form of structure. I mean, maybe everything doesn't go as planned, but usually there's a wedding planner. It's like, okay, this time they're going to meet this, then they're going to do first looks, and they're getting ready, and then the bridal and the reception.
There's
so
some
it's
kind of structure to it.
Yeah, it's reacting, but there's some kind of planning and structure.
Yeah, weddings definitely have a documentary aspect to them, because it's one of those things where, and you can, but you're a jerk if you do. I feel like you can't repeat a moment. Like Meals on Wheels, like the stuff we were doing, you can't repeat that. Like, and if you do
I
repeat
just let that guy talk. Remember that? He was talking. This dude was talking for like 40 minutes straight.
Yes.
He talked. There was no getting around what he was saying because I wanted to let him go. I wanted to find those little things and those little nuances that told the story of Meals on Wheels that he was talking about, and it was perfect. Like, it matched up.
And if you have them repeat it, it's bottled now. It's not. It's canned. It's not natural anymore. And
so I think that's what I like about the documentary side of things is that more organic, natural, emotional feel to it. So it's just
spray
again,
and
I
pray,
like that.
dude. Spray and pray.
If
You point your
there's
camera back, you get it.
Exactly.
It's
so cool because I see this like relationship you guys have here. Is we have the imperfectionist and we have the perfectionist. And being able to marry those two, be able to like have this really organic feel between you two guys, like that's just it's great to have those two assets on set. 100%.
Which again, that's I think the thing with all three of us too. Like and with filmmakers in general too. I mean, I think that's one of the things that a group like ours isn't that popular. Probably some people, and a lot of videographers, I'm sure, like have such a specific way in their mind of how they want things, and so it's hard to let go of that control, whether it be ego or style, or just that's how they built their business, so it's afraid to branch out. We started this together, and it's like we have different thoughts about even filming the same stuff, the cameras we use or the coloring, how it's done. It's like, so we can do that in a respectful, challenging way to each other to make sure that we're always growing or being open to other things. And like we're talking about documentaries here, and we're going back and forth on like two completely different ways and to film it. And I think that's awesome as far as challenging each other, getting used to those different scenarios, and being able to ultimately push ourselves to get a better product.
Yeah, exactly. I think being able to push each other in different ways that we're maybe not so comfortable in, but also being able to accept what each other believes and feels and thinks about certain situations. Because I know that, like, even yesterday I had a conversation with Christian. I was like, hey, as far as like testimonial type stuff goes, how do you feel that someone should look at the camera? Should they look at the camera or should it be off camera? You prefer for them to be looking on camera because it's very logical for someone to be talking to another client in those situations, right? In those film worlds. Christian said that he likes it to be off camera. And I was like, okay, well, what's the difference here? What's the main thing here? And maybe it's more corporate where we have someone looking, straight at the camera. Maybe it's more nonprofit where someone's looking off camera because of the documentary feel. Because
so many different flavors.
So many different flavors and
that's
strokes,
what it boils down to, because thinking about it, because I agree, sometimes looking off the camera is a better thing too, and I think it depends what the video is for too.
A lot of the live event stuff I do is direct to camera simply because I'm putting together these reels to get attendees in the door next year. And they want that connection.
Yes, so
you want to be looking at
thought.
potential attendees and be like, come here next year, we want you here. So that's an application where I totally agree at the camera. But like if I had to pick and have my choice, I like off camera. Just because
especially the way we do the interviews a lot of times too, right?
For sure.
There's certain things where depending on the business or what the video is made for, like if you're trying to same with YouTube videos, we don't look off screen for that because it's like we want the person watching the video to feel like they're the one being talked to. They're the one in a conversation, engaged in conversation. They're the ones that it's focused on. Yeah. So in those senses, it makes perfect sense. And I think it's preferred to have the person talking, looking at the camera. But then there's a lot of these other scenarios too, like the testimonials, for instance. Like I wouldn't really want them looking at the camera the entire time. I've learned to really prefer them not to, because again, you're the one interviewing. So even if, whoever's asking the questions isn't on camera, their voice isn't there, like still you can tell that they're having the person that's being, interviewed with the testimonials having a natural conversation. So having that be, that person's locked in on the interviewer, they're having that conversation. It seems more organic that way. Yeah. So again, it just depends what the video is for, I think, that dictates that.
Yeah, of course. Yeah. It's definitely those kinds of realms.
So Kyle, the sports savant, the CrossFit crusader.
Oh my God!
I love you, Christian.
Tell us, what do you do, man? What's your niche?
So
I'm sorry, Kyle. We just for everybody to know, we just got business cards like 3 days ago, and now we have to trash them because Kyle's has to say CrossFit Crusader.
I'm trying to sound like the guy on Hot
There goes
Ones.
a grand out the door, right? Yeah. No, it's. So I actually, let me start from like kind of the beginning, not like telling the full story right here, but my wife actually has a videography degree from her college.
No, I didn't know that.
Yeah, she
How
actually
did
does.
we not know that?
So it's a minor, right? But it's allowed her to be really creative. And so when we went on our honeymoon, we went to Bora Bora. And I was like, can we get the latest GoPro, which is like a 7 at the time, right? And it was 2018, and she gives me the GoPro, and we go and film and stuff, and she's like, okay, what are you going to do with it? And I was like, what do you mean, what am I going to do with it? She's like, can you make something with it? And I was like, excuse me, what do you mean? So it was crazy because I went down this rabbit hole of YouTube, did like the 4-month thing, and like 8 hours a day watching YouTube, and like stayed up all night, and went in so deep, and learned everything from it, and created this video, which right now I would probably throw up at going back to watch, but being able to see some of that and see people's reactions to kind of how the flow went, people were like, yo, you need to do something with video. You need to do this. And the inspiration I got from creating that was like a travel video, right? And it was Sam Colder, it was Sam Newton, it was Peter McKinnon, it was Matty Hippolyta, all these people that really have an eye for this moody, interesting look, eye-catching type look. And
Transitions,
all the transitions, masking everywhere. But it was kind of this niche that I had, and people just started noticing it. That was just a little different, and it wasn't like oh, I was the god of it all, it was so good and whatever, but it was like just different.
Yeah.
And I hated the tripods. I never did anything with. I think I remember putting a gimbal on a couch just to make sure that the stand looked like a tripod setting for an interview at one point in time when I was first starting out. And going from there, I just learned to fall in love with being able to find the little nuances in nature to allow for me to show off God's creation. And that's what I really love, I think, when it comes to that kind of stuff, because like my wife and I just got back from the Bahamas, and I stopped her like every 5 minutes.
Yeah, when are we going to see some content from that?
It's coming. It just, business is business. I can't get to it. I wish I could, honestly, here's one of the things is I love YouTube. but I just feel like I can't put any time into it.
It is a black hole. Yeah.
I feel like I can't because I'm so focused on building the business at the moment. But nevertheless, like being able to find the different aspects of naturalism outside, whether it be surf, sand, waves, whether it be tropical or tundra. You know, we're going to New Zealand in September, and I want to be able to. I'm going to have my drone in the air every freaking second while we're there. You know, like it's going to be that intense. And so being able to get all those types of shots where I can just show off God's creation.
Can you please try some Vegemite for me and let me know how it is?
The what?
Some Vegemite.
Vegemite? What is that?
Oh, it's a New Zealand thing. Okay, we'll say that for later. There's try some Vegemite.
There's some kind of like pig stomach that people try there, and I can't remember what it's called, but it's like
haggis.
Yes, haggis.
That's Scotland.
Yeah, I'm going to Scotland. Did I say New Zealand?
Yeah.
Scotland. Anyways,
okay, you can't get Vegemite there. Then.
Yeah,
Never mind.
No, I was going to say, I was like, oh,
yes, get some haggis.
Yeah, that one.
Yeah.
So, anyway.
Sheep intestine, I'm pretty sure.
Sheep intestine. I think being able to show off the naturalism that God has created, and that's my pull. Is I love being able to do that and being able to, transition it, make these transitions in a way that it kind of creates some hype around that. Not that God's creation needs to be any better or any different, but the way that we create film is trying to be awe-inspiring and being able to show off the little fun pieces here and there. The first time I met Christian, he had this video. One of the first times I met with Christian, he had one of these videos out with his brother and the band thing that he had doing at his high school, which I thought was awesome. It's just something I wouldn't want to ever create because it was just not my style, not what I'm a part, and that's nothing wrong with that. But my aspect of filmmaking comes from being able to show off God's creation. And with that came, sports and naturalism within that. What the human body can actually do. And just like, I love being able to do that and showing off just some of the freakish natures of some of these guys, how strong they are, how fast they are, how all that kind of stuff. And that, again, it stems from God's creation because God created us, right? And so being able to show off those human aspects there for me is really exciting. We can get in the nitty gritty of like what I like to lean towards, like whether it be FPV or color or stuff like that, but the whole realm of it I think is really just
well, even that I think shows more to your style too, like the way you film thing. You're the person that like you prefer to have like a 7200 like right in someone's face. You want an FPV over regular drones so you can dive in there with it. Can we
put a 7200 on an FPV drone at some point?
Yeah, sure. Why not?
Sounds good.
Well, dude, I'm super psyched that you said, because I had it cooking the whole time you were talking. I'm super psyched that you mentioned and that you realize the human form stuff with the God's creation aspect and everything, because I see that. Like, and two things that are cool about your style is like, I know there's a couple directors that are kind of obsessed with like the human form and I do think that shows through, and especially like in the vaulting stuff these people are doing and like the ramps that you do and everything. It is nuts. I'll be watching this. I'm like, this person is so like chiseled, it's amazing. Like
it's unreal.
It evokes the exact emotion I think you're looking for, dude. It's like I'll watch your sports stuff and I'm like, man, this guy's a machine. Whoever's doing this, like, or javelin, whatever they're doing.
And not even that. One thing I think you're good at capturing too is like, you'll get. Well, I'm thinking more of when I was still getting used to filming the sports stuff is like, overall, like look at the weights or look at this or look at their arm moving. But you're like, no, like look at their face, like look at the dedication you can see. Like you can get right up someone's face in a frame and show 10 years of dedication coming through right there as they're pushing themselves.
The emotion that stems from someone picking up a 400-pound dumbbell and putting it overhead, or a 300-pound dumbbell and squatting with it, or whatever it may be. The muscle tension behind all of that, I want to see what that muscle's doing through the camera, not only on the actual muscle itself, but what it's doing to that person on their face.
Yeah, their focus,
and that's what and we got that compliment while we were there at Beach Town. This lady comes up to us and says, I just love the way you guys film stuff. I love the way you guys create stuff. It seems so, what'd she say? She seems so personable. It seems so in your face and so organic that I can't remember what was the word that she used.
I don't remember.
But nevertheless, she was just very much like, hey, this is different because you're getting the emotion out of someone's face while they're going through suffering.
Yeah, it's not just like, again, like I was saying, it's not just like look at the weights. It's like, look at the depth and the focus of this person, like how much time they've put into this, how like hard they're pushing themselves to like reach this level, and it truly is impressive.
For me, I have a hard time filming things like real estate or cars or things like that, because it's just, for me, it's like that's something that we as humans did, right? And it's just not something that interests me. It's not that nothing's wrong with it by any means, but being able to find the human emotion through suffering or through athletics or whatever it may be, that kind of thing is really interesting in my perspective.
I think as well, a super cool aspect, like it's more of a recent development, is the FPV stuff, man. Like, and I think, like you said, is a good point you made. You said you're not saying that God's creation can be improved and stuff, but it can be seen in new ways. And dude, FPV, like it's so funny. I always bring this up, like when I play with the DJI mics or just something crazy futuristic, like, and the FPV is like the forefront of that. And it's like, imagine like the pioneers seeing this. Like if I could bring a guy from like 1850 in and like watch this, and it's like they had to climb that to see those views,
Yeah.
And it's like if I could bring him and sit him at this table and just be like,
watch this.
Sit him here and just like flying through. I mean, the guy would be like jaw on the floor, like holy crap. Yeah. And it's a whole different, it's a whole different ballgame. And I think, even though I don't want to touch FPV with a 10-foot pole, I love watching it. And I mean, it totally evokes like look at this, look at this creation. Like it 100%. It's like childlike wonder.
Yeah,
like,
and I think that
insane.
I go those extremes too. Like I'm. Not so much in like the personal aspect of I really start to understand the more I film the sports stuff, but like, I'm such on the techie side, and like I just find it so cool, like what people are inventing, like how people think of stuff, like all these different technologies we have to like make our lives easier and make the products come out better and better. Like it blows my mind, even looking back and then understanding like shutter angle and a camera's whatever, and it's just a number and the new cameras, and it's hard to understand, but then going back and realizing, whoa, we took this thing from like film and paper and light, and like now it's this digital format with a click of a button, and like so crazy. Doing all that with how far we've come, and then also opposite, like lately I've been super into travel films, so I've been getting that too. Like I got my passport coming, and like I'm for like
you need to go travel.
Yeah, I can't wait,
man.
Do you guys have any suggestions? I've like never been out of the country before, so it's like
hire us for your travel.
Comment
board.
below, like where
please.
should I visit first? Where do you guys want to see content?
If you live in a place that you want showcased, or if this makes its way to a person that's on a travel board, we're the guys. Like, I don't know what else to tell you.
Visit myrtlebeach.com, seen the work that we did, and hired us on immediately. There's plenty of work out there that we've done to show this kind of stuff off. It would be amazing to be able to come serve you guys. Now, as far as that stuff goes, I think we hit the nail on the hammer. What is it that our niches are about, right? And what is it that we're so interested in?
Sorry, did you say we hit the nail on the hammer?
Yeah, nail on the hammer. Yeah, I did do that.
Wait, that kind of makes sense.
It makes sense.
Okay, sorry.
We're gonna
distractions.
My bad. No, I'm an idiot. So it's whatever comes out of my mouth, I don't apologize for, and I just keep it on.
We know.
I'm just messing around. But if you guys have any other things that y'all are interested in us talking about, please leave in the comment or button down below. Please like, subscribe, share, all the things. We'd appreciate it. And if you guys want to see more of this stuff, we're going to do some movie reviews, right? We're going to go
reactions. Any type
we might have some competitions, some little bit of fun competitions. So we're going to be getting all that. So thank y'all. I appreciate it.
All right, see you guys.
See y'all.
Peace.